I'm not giving up when it comes to XCN. And the reason why is because even though as of right now, the price seems to be going down, there's a pullback, I still believe better days are ahead. $1 is still my price target, even though that's not financial advice. And some people may be thinking, oh, wow, this sucks. This is trash. But in my opinion, sentiments change very quickly. When I first started talking about XCN, people didn't really believe in it. Then suddenly, shortly afterwards, it did very well. People changed their sentiment. As quickly as we see the sentiment change as of right now, I think it's going to be equally as quick when XCN hypothetically does make a very good recovery, whenever that may be, because it can't be predicted how low XCN is going to go because, of course, after a major pump, there's going to be a pullback. However, I think the general direction, especially in 2025, is going to be primarily upwards because $1 during this bull run, I really don't see why not. And this isn't my first rodeo, by the way, because I remember acquiring Floki. I thought it was going to keep going up. Then what happened? The price went down around 95%. Even at one point, I think it was down around 98%. It was pretty bad. However, what did I do? I calmed myself down. I kept accumulating more. And then from the points that I did accumulate, it did, over 30x. So that right there is, I think an indication that sometimes when a project is good, it's not going to go down forever. And I just don't think that XCN, even as of right now, having this price pullback is necessarily the end-all be-all because take a look at Luna Classic, right? I'm not saying that XCN is something like that, but I'm just saying this as an extreme example. Despite that project pretty much going off to the abyss, even Luna Classic found a bottom. So the way I view it is that even though XCN is having a pullback, of course not that bad, but I think better days are ahead. And considering the original point in which I started talking about XCN, again, in the grand scheme of things, it's done very well. Now, if someone entered pretty much at the most recent top, of course, it seems kind of bad. But in my opinion, a worse feeling than seeing the portfolio go down because it's just part of the game. That's the way to take a look at it. I've been down before when it comes to Floki, Jasmine, a bunch of other projects, and then eventually, hypothetically, it did very good. So again, this isn't my first rodeo. However, here's the thing. The way I view it is that, a worse feeling than seeing the portfolio go down is, again, having that go down and then not being able to accumulate. Why? It's because sometimes people, they go all in, and then when the things do start going down, they can't take advantage of that. Now, because I'm dollar cost averaging the entire time anyways, I never went all in. If the price does go down, I'll be able to accumulate more, if that makes sense. Because again, if I can't take advantage of the dip, then it's worse than seeing the portfolio go down. Because if the portfolio does go down, there's hypothetically going to be a moment where things do end up becoming better. So again, I think worse feeling is, seeing it go down and then not being able to accumulate, which is why I'm still going to be accumulating. And the way to take a look at it is that the lower the price, the better the buying opportunity. And if XCN does keep continuing to go lower and lower, in my opinion, it's sort of like a time machine, really, me being able to somewhat go back in time to a point where XCN was at a much lower point and then being able to accumulate more. I'm not saying that XCN is going to go to zero or anything like that. Now, here's the thing as well. Some people like to say that, oh yeah, when it comes to cryptocurrencies, they only want to acquire when it's pumping and they panic sell when it's dumping. Well, I think that is kind of a bad idea. Now, personally for me, I wouldn't do that. I'm not telling them to do anything. However, I think it could create this vicious cycle because some people out there, they panic buy when things are pumping, but then they panic sell when things are dumping. There's no longevity in that, in my opinion. The way to take a look at it is that when I acquire something, I have to view it as more of a marathon, not a sprint. I have to be accumulating consistently on a routine basis, no matter how well or how bad the project is doing in the short to medium term, because again, things in the short to medium term could be doing very bad. If I based my, sentiment on Floki during the times where I was down over 90%, let's say if I did that, can you imagine me just giving up on Floki and then missing out on that pump? So the way to take a look at it is that it's no different here. I'm still going to believe in this. And I think the market is on the rise when it comes to Onyx because you take a look at, of course, XCN, aka Onyxcoin, that is the native token of the Onyx protocol. And the Onyx protocol is a decentralized blockchain infrastructure that is designed to improve financial services. So when you take a look at that, it's pretty much focused on the same markets as Ripple and as well as Stellar. It's not like we've never seen XRP or XLM have a pullback. No, we've seen that happen historically. And we all know what happened, during the times when XRP and XLM was relatively, quote unquote, kind of low. The people who are still holding as of right now, they did pretty good, right? Hypothetically, compared to back then. And Again, when it comes to XCN, some people treat it like it's going to zero or anything like that. It's just having a pullback. It's only normal. I've been mentioning this throughout all my videos that, there's going to be a pullback along the way, but I'm still going to believe in this because I think the journey is still very far. Imagine once March, April, May, June, July comes along. I think it could be a totally different story. I think we could see things shift in a much better direction. Of course, naturally, some people don't want to believe in XCN anymore. Some people sell, and it's totally fine. But the way I view it is that usually for every seller, there's a buyer, right? So if someone is willing to sell XCN at a cheaper price, you know what? I'll try to take advantage of it by dollar cost averaging. So I don't think it's necessarily the end all be all. And historically speaking, we do know that typically altcoins is a worst case scenario. They do peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event, which would actually mean around October this year. So again, if anything, I think that showcases how there's still plenty of time. Now, this is just more so of like a gauge. It doesn't really indicate that that is exactly when things are going to peak as a worst case scenario. But again, it's just a good time frame of anything. And I think that, again, the journey is still very far. And I want to wait and see because I'm going to be waiting anyways. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to be 100% correct, but you know what? I at least wanted to do something and see if it becomes a reality because I feel like when it comes to this bull run, it's kind of like in the 7 or 8 mile point, and then it's like a 10-mile marathon. I just want to see what it is like in the finish line. You know what I mean? The way I view it is that it makes no sense for me to give up as of right now. I haven't sold any XCN and I don't plan to anytime soon because I still believe in its future. $1 is still my price target. And keep in mind, if XCN were to go to the price of $1, considering current circulating supply, at that point, market cap would be around $31 billion. Not too bad. We've seen Dogecoin reach over 80 billion. We've seen BNB reach over 100 billion. I don't think this is crazy figures, or should I say some crazy figures. And the way I view it is that because XCN is having a pullback, now $1 is around a 38x from here. Yeah, it's not going to be the best upside of all time, but you know what? It's not bad in my opinion. And considering how much XCN has done in the grand scheme of things, yeah, this doesn't seem so bad. Let's say doing an additional hypothetical 38x from here. I think that XCN really is this project that people often are used to seeing do well. So then now they're seeing a pullback. They're kind of agitated, all this type of stuff. Well, again, the way I view it is that things aren't always going to pump forever. There's going to be pullbacks along the way. Take a look at Bitcoin, for instance, right? When it was at the price of $1 at one point, did it have the straight shot all the way to over $100,000? No, that wasn't the case. There was multiple pullbacks along the way. We've seen that happen with Solana. We've seen that happen with Ethereum. It's not going to be the straight shot up. So it's only normal, but sometimes people who maybe haven't taken a look back in history, or maybe they do, but then they still want to feel this way anyways, where they're like, oh man, this is bad. And it's totally their choice, right? If they don't like XCN or whatever, they don't like pullbacks. But for me, it feels like it's just part of the gig, It's like, let's say someone wants to be a musician. Well, part of the gig or part of the, profession is, let's say, playing on stage. It is what it is. People may be nervous. They may think that, oh yeah, it's not a good feeling, but you know what? It's part of the act, right? Or like part of the profession. It's like, for instance, let's say someone's an athlete. What's a consequence? Maybe training, maybe being tired sometimes. It's just part of it. So the way to take a look at it is that, you know what? When things go down, it is what it is. I'll take advantage of it. And I still believe in its future because XCN at the price of $1 during this bull run, I'm not giving up. When you again have over 600 million crypto owners, currently according to Crypto.com research, I think this burn could be so amazing, but it's just a matter of time. And I'm not giving up. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm a peace. Bye.